Okay, welcome to State of the Game for July 12th, everyone. Okay, but we have a patch going out today, the biggest part of which is the map.
Yep.
The map fix.
The
so
map
I'm
fix,
very happy about that. Although people may disagree because the biggest part for a lot of people is the G36 base damage reduction of 15%.
Yes.
Again, people, I understand that is it is going to change that up a little bit. But I would urge you to try it out first. Let us know what you think after that. It is relatively small, and if we are being honest, mathematically it probably should have received even more. But 15% is it is there.
It's still a pretty good assault rifle.
Oh, it's really
definitely
good.
I mean, for assault rifles, it's still,
Yes,
a very good weapon.
It's definitely the best assault rifle.
Yeah,
I think hands down.
Changelog. So yes, state of reading patch notes, as I've seen somebody say in the chat. So let's do that. Reduce the base damage of the G36. I think we will comment more on that after. But yes, G36 has been nerfed as we announced since we actually released update 1.3.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, 15% of the reduction. Fix the bug. So yeah, we fixed the bug where the name weapons could not be recalibrated, so now they can be recalibrated. We fixed the mega map, which was one of the most annoying issues we had in there.
Yep.
So this is fixed on all platforms. We fixed a bug with the evacuation point, whatever. It's a UI bug. It's minor, but it's still good that it's fixed. Alpha Bridge gloves. So the Alpha Bridge gloves are now, you won't have the issue where you actually had no stats on them or the wrong stats or whatever. Alpha Bridge glove will roll normal stats. Yep. And that means that we also, in order to make this change retroactive, we actually reset the stat on all the Alpha Bridge gloves that are out there. So if you had gloves already, don't be surprised when you will log back into the game, the stats will have been reset. So that's something important to know. We fixed some bug with the music, the recalibrating last talent on the PP19. So if you would recalibrate the last talent on the PP19, the one that is supposed to be free, you would end up with actually requirements on it. This is fixed. It's not the case anymore. We fixed a bug with the Sentry's gear where it would apply to the showstopper and it shouldn't, so it won't apply to the showstopper anymore. Some visual effects with signature skills. The weapon stacking with the Alpha Bridge, which was something very important, is fixed. The recalibrating weapon talents, it could happen that when you would recalibrate a weapon talent, you would end up with a talent that was not the one you actually picked. This is fixed. Now you will always get what you picked, which makes more sense. We fixed a bug in search and destroy and high-value targets, where if you would die during the search and destroy and actually respawn in your safe house, go back there, you would actually die again automatically and be sent back to your safe house until you relog.
Yep.
Fixed. And we fixed the multiple consumables bug with the reclaimer set, where you could just stack all the consumables.
I like that one. This the G36 nerf was coming all along, but a lot of people asked, why did you release the update then? We couldn't really hold the update to fix something that wasn't game breaking.
Or the gun. I mean, some people also asked, why did you not just remove the gun? We couldn't. We just can't always remove a gun from an update. It's not as simple as that. We did it in the past, but because we actually found out about something wrong with the gun early enough that we could actually remove it, that was not the case with this one. Now, the reason why also we're nerfing it, and a lot of people are asking, why are you nerfing the gun and not buffing the other ones, is because we found out directly that it was just like the base damage and everything was just completely off the chart compared to the overall weapon balancing that we put in 1.3. So we wanted to make sure that the G36 would actually be brought back to fitting with everything. We had a complete pass on all the weapons with 1.3, so we can't now just start buffing other things just to match one OP weapon. That's not how it works. But now, of course, that makes it less fun for all the people that were having issues, because yes, we know there is another problem in the game, which is the
tank mission stuff, and
and the time to kill, basically, with all the heroic mode missions and everything, where the NPCs are just very, very tough, and it takes a lot of time to kill them. And the G36 kind of mitigated that in a way because it was a bit more powerful than the other ones. So yes, that is an issue, but that's not that's not something we will address by just letting you guys play with an OP weapon.
It
That's something we need to address separately from the weapon balancing. Yes, Heroic Dragon's Nest is released today. Heal lag, I've seen people talking about heal lag. Yeah, that's something we're working on also. We are
About what? Healing lag.
yeah, the heal delay, the healing delay. This is something we're looking at.
Have we seen SkillUp's Sentry Smart Cover and Pulse video? We haven't seen the video, but we do know exactly what he's talking about. We've obviously spent some time with SkillUp, and that's a conversation that we have had. I feel like now there we go. Now it's more balanced. He has some really, really good points.
Yeah. And
we spent some time with him at E3, and this was part of our discussion during that time. So yes, we are aware of it, and it's what we've been. We passed that on to a lot of the developers as soon as we got back.
Yeah. G36 nerf, I think we've talked about it again. Yes, this is a nerf. In a perfect world, we would prefer to buff everything, but it's not always the case. Sometimes we just don't have a choice than just simply nerf something. And that was the case with the G36. But as far as weapon balancing and everything, now the G36 will be more on par with everything else, and now we can look at what's the next step to then tweak all the balancing. One of the reasons why people loved the G36 so much and didn't want it to be nerfed was because it was a good alternative because of the time to kill issue right now in heroic mode, and the fact that the NPCs, especially level 35 NPCs, are actually very, very tanky, and it takes a lot of bullets to actually kill them. The G36 did that or helped with that. But this is something that we are fully aware of. We know that the level 35 NPCs are actually very, very tanky, and it's very hard to kill them. It takes too long, to be honest. Yes, the time to kill is too high on this, and this is something we're looking at. And also it leads to the issue that the ammo capacity is not even high enough, which pushes people to use the Lone Star to actually get more ammos. This is all something like we are clearly aware of, and this is definitely not the way we want it to be in the long run. That's definitely something.
I think you bring up a good point. There's kind of like a side effect of that enemy health pool getting so high, especially when you bring into account group size. So, for example, our solo players, the ammo requirements hit them so much harder. So, we're definitely aware of those issues. Bob Leponge.
The loot issue, and especially like the loot waiting or whatever that people have been talking about. We know that a lot of people are frustrated with the fact that some rewards are guaranteed or some gear sets are guaranteed in specific activities and all of that. We know that this is a solution that has generated a lot of discussion. And this is also something we are looking at. Now, does that mean we are going to remove it or stick to it? Right now, I can't really say anything about that because we are looking at what the options are because we understand that this is frustrating for the players. There are some short-term tweaks that we can do to help a bit with that, but also it will require a longer overhaul on the system, which is also something that we are looking at.
Exactly. I mean, so some of the things that people have talked about.
Putting water everywhere.
Oh man, what are you doing?
That happened.
So obviously we have different things that are tailored towards different gear sets. Because I mean, if you had the antithesis of that system where you had all gear sets available everywhere from doing absolutely everything, then you would have less of a chance to find those from dedicated activities, which is would be another frustration. So I don't think that's the fix. One of the things that people have put forth is like a token system. So those are one of the things that we could, put on the table. But this is why having a conversation is important. I think it's really important to get good ideas from you guys. I think a token system is a really, really good suggestion. So whoever started that conversation, fantastic. But having everything drop from everywhere, I don't think is maybe the right way to go.
Toughness in PvP. So yes, we're aware of it. We're looking at it.
Yeah.
But yes, we know that right now PvP is just not so much fun. Especially, I mean, you've seen it when even when we live stream, it happens that we bump into other groups. I mean, you had it. And
and you run around and
then you spend 10 minutes shooting at each other and nobody dies and like the chat goes crazy and you're like, oh, you see, PvP doesn't work. And
we know. We're definitely playing the same game as you guys.
Yeah.
It's something that we feel as well. It doesn't feel right, and that's a kind of a soft value, but. No, we understand the frustration with it. there are things that we can do on our side, and we got to test some of those things before we get them out to you, because we don't also want a situation where we change things and then it's like, well, this is just completely different and not good. But we have some things we can do.
Somebody was asking about solo players. That's also something that we are fully aware of.
Yeah. In PvP or PvE? Well, I mean both.
In both.
Yeah.
But the fact that the game is very punishing for solo players. Underground is supposed to be scalable and is supposed to help with solo play, but the difficulty gap between hard and challenging is very, very tough.
Yeah.
So it's really not easy for solo players. So this is also something that we are looking at, because yes, as much as we like it when you guys actually matchmake and make friends and play with other people, we also need to make sure that people who want to play solo can, and that it is also rewarding for them, without, of course, making it better to play solo rather than in group. So it's all about finding the right balance there.
Yeah, someone else brought up the blueprints, 229 and 268 blueprints. Hamish, please answer this question. Right now, the only 268 blueprints that I know of are for the new sets. I think you can get, I think it's the knee pads. Anyway, you can get the ones in the terminal. But I think what people are really talking about are the 229 blueprints. They don't exist.
Yeah.
Again, that's the case. Why are they ignoring 229 blueprints comments? We are not. Again, that is the way it is right now. We need to find out, what the intention is exactly with that. But right now, there are no 229 blueprints.
Underground not rewarding enough. Yes.
So this one.
Guess what? We're looking at it.
The blind rifle is something that we don't have an ETA on. But as soon as we do, I'd love to show you guys how that works, because it's very, very cool. It's one of my favorite guns. Tankticians are destroying the game experience. We're totally aware of the tanktician thing, and some of the things we're working on our side are to combat that. They aren't being deployed in this patch, but I think people can expect that being addressed hopefully very soon. More use for DZ funds. Agreed. Right now, without the max level gear score crafting blueprints, there isn't much of a use. Apart from those scopes that showed up the other day, which were really, really good.
Somebody is asking about season pass events. I know this is a big discussion, and we will be talking about it very soon, guys. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Loadouts. So that's a good thing to talk about, actually. Apple G. John, that's one of the things that I think is a really, really good request from the community, is having a way to save loadouts and being able to switch them. Obviously, out of combat. If you switch them in combat, you're going to have all sorts of weird metagame shifts that aren't fun. But yeah, I'm totally behind that idea. I think that's fantastic. When are we going to expand the DZ? That's not something we're talking about yet. The other thing people are obviously asking a lot is when survival coming out. When are you guys talking more about survival? When we can talk more about survival, we'll definitely do that here. It's something that I'm really excited to talk about, but that's not a today discussion.
There was somebody spamming scavenging in caps. Yes, we know that scavenging is not very useful for the end.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit before on the stream. The thing is, scavenging works, but it doesn't work well for in-game players. It's since the game has shifted since we released it, in terms of how the loot works. We now have a lot of guaranteed high-end drops, and that sort of thing. Scavenging loses its effectiveness in lieu of, in light of how the loot system now works. We've said before that we think that the system needs a rework. Armor damage for PvP. Yeah, so that was something we talked about when the inherent stats for assault rifles were added. Actually, and on LMGs and shotguns and that sort of thing. We do want to have meaningful additions for the ARs and the shotguns in PvP, because you don't actually have those right now. Stagger won't work in PvP, and also the armor damage on assault rifles. But we do want to do that.
Anyway, any further nerf on the Sentry gear set? Not that I know of.
Nope.
I don't think we plan on nerfing it even more.
Nope. I mean, it's maybe not the most elegant place that it's in right now. but it's working. That's the thing. You can still use it as a 4-piece and then with a 2-piece. I know a bunch of people were running 2-piece Final Measure and 4-piece Sentry, because if we're being honest, the power of Sentry comes from the 4-piece bonus. What did you get there?
Back on where I saying they nerfed the light. Typical.
Yeah, no, we nerfed the light.
No, it's back.
It's back. It's coming
See?
back.
It's back.
Damn it, son.
We rebalanced it.
You were asking if there are going to be any more skills added in the future, drones or various tech things and that sort of thing. I think that would be really cool. People who have followed our game for a while will remember some skills that aren't in the game. There was one called the Firefly, which was like a little drone. I think that's what people are talking about. It was cool. So there's always options with a game like this when we're trying to grow it and continue to support it. It's a possibility. The drones, the actual drone app, that won't be coming back. That broke the game pretty hard. If you guys were worried about things being frustrating, I think you would have a whole new level of frustration if you were in the dark zone and the other team had drones too. Please add a pony so I can pet it and feed it and love it every day. Thanks. Streamer house. Sure. Yannick will code it this afternoon.
I do it.
You know how to do that, right?
Yeah.
All right.
I raise it
Fantastic.
and then I nerf it.